Hello there. What is going on, everyone? In case you missed the special studio announcement from Atomic Mass Games, we're going to talk about what it was, and it was a new game compatible with Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures called Marvel Crisis Protocol Alliance. It's sort of a companion game, it's a standalone game, and it's a cooperative game. We're going to go into all of the details in this video. If you didn't see the live stream yesterday, we did a watch party. We talked about it a lot. There was also a lot of news pertaining to Star Wars Shatterpoint and some restructuring. That is all going to be in tomorrow's video, where we're also going to announce the winner of our $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. If you want to have a chance to enter to win that or any of my other giveaways, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. It's as simple as that. I typically announce winners towards the end of videos, so make sure you watch all the way to the end, and we'll be bringing to you my reaction to the recent other news tomorrow, and we'll talk about all of that and what it means for Shatterpoint and everything else. But today we're talking about Marvel Crisis Protocol Alliances, the new board game announced from Atomic Mass Games. That's right, I said board game, which is pretty interesting. This is going to have a hex-based board, and it's going to be using miniatures that are compatible with Marvel Crisis Protocol. Now, you're looking at characters here. You're looking at characters and like, wait, I've already got Spider-Man in Marvel Crisis Protocol. Yes, that's right. This is, I think this is kind of sort of a hybrid game. It's an arcade-style beat-em-up game where you're playing a cooperative team of spider heroes going up against the Green Goblin and various waves of his miniatures. As you can see here, we are getting some new versions of Spider-Man and Miles Morales and Black Cat, and also the Spider-Gwen. They look like they're different sculpts. They are also compatible. Here's a look at the board. This is a beat-em-up game from 1 to 4 players, which does mean that it's a soloable game. You can do solo play on this game, which typically you can always do in any cooperative game. It's just whether or not the game is really designed for that. And since they say 1 to 4 players, that definitely sort of indicates that indeed, yes, there should be a solo option in there as well. Of course, if not, you can always just play all 4 characters or play 2 characters or however many you want. But typically games like this tend to have sort of a scaling difficulty based on the number of players that are coming out there. So this is an interesting one. This was also heavily inspired by the Ultimate Encounters that they were doing for Marvel Crisis Protocol. And while we have a lot of information about this sort of companion game, there's also a lot more questions that I think people are asking right now. For example, are they still going to do Ultimate Encounters for Marvel Crisis Protocol? How far do they plan on going with games like this? And is this also a blueprint for more sort of introductory sort of entry games into miniature gaming for a lot of other folks? And when I say that, I'm talking about their new fast mini assembly. So they have this fast it's basically a fusion assembly, and these are press fit miniatures. You are going to have to clip them out, but they are going to go in and they're going to snap right into each other. You do not need any glue, which is going to make assembly very, very easy. This is probably something that's going to be really well geared for family play, really well geared for younger folks as well as veterans. Again, if you're a fan of Marvel Crisis Protocol, this is definitely a way for you to get some new miniatures, alternate sculpts for additional characters. It's unclear if these are going to be meant to be basically replace like any version of Spider-Man, for example, or if it has to replace a specific version. I'm not sure how all the rules of that are going to work. Again, there are a lot of questions that I have that this video kind of brought to light, although I don't know if any of them are like super critical. Like, I tend to play Marvel Crisis Protocol in a casual way, so it wouldn't matter to me which size or which style of Spider-Man or which style of Peter Parker I swapped out, as long as the base was the same size. And I think that's the most important thing here. But this is a really cool system. I also like the fact that they're showcasing colored plastic here, because having like blue for good guys and presumably like gray for the other guys is a cool thing, because it means that you don't have to paint and you can kind of play this almost straight out of the box. You just have to clip and assemble it a little bit. So it's definitely a step towards, like a step closer to being a traditional board game. It is also interesting that Atomic Mass Games is now coming out with a board game, whereas Fantasy Flight had always done like the board and card side of this sort of thing, and now you have AMG doing more of a board game, but it's kind of a hybrid because it's a miniatures game and a board game, and we've seen some hybrid stuff with with Simon and like Zombicide coming to Fantasy Flight Games, which is a board game but also has a lot of miniatures. And and where do you draw the line? I don't know. Maybe the line doesn't need to be drawn anywhere, and just let studios focus on what they already do. I think it just makes sense that Atomic Mass Games would put out a game like this. And I think it's kind of interesting because of the fact that this is a great way to get people into Marvel Crisis Protocol and appeal to a wider audience that maybe isn't super crazy about like an expandable skirmish war game. Now all of a sudden they have a standalone board game that they can play, and they have the whole thing in one box. I think that's very cool. Again, no glue required also means that they can just snap fit these things, put them together, and then they have a colored piece ready to play. Very cool thing. Now, the rest of, there's a video that they showcased, which you can check out at Atomic Mass Games' YouTube channel. This video does show us a little bit of gameplay here, and we can glean a couple of things from it. It's going to be using the same dice as Marvel Crisis Protocol. It's going to be using a lot of the same stuff, but it also has board, like character player boards. It has cards, and it has some tiles and tokens and things like that. But in the video, they're using painted miniatures, so you're not, again, I'm curious like what color the villain's plastic is. I'm assuming it's going to be different than the hero's plastic, but that's an assumption. It's a question, right? So, but again, we've got Green Goblin here. We've got 4 heroes, and then we have a whole bunch of henchmen and stuff like that. And it's also unclear if those characters are going to copy over into Marvel Crisis Protocol or not, although it looks like they probably won't, at least not right now. And again, that's okay. It's just an interesting kind of way to go. I thought that was very interesting. Now, when we look at the hero boards, you're going to be leveling up characters. You're going to gain new abilities. You have a level 1, a level 2, level 3. You can play this over the course of 3 rounds, and they say it should play in about 2 hours, so you can get your whole campaign sort of done in about a 2-hour session. Now, I'm assuming that's 2 hours once you already know the rules. Cooperative games tend to be very easy to teach and quicker to get people playing because of the fact that since you're not playing against each other, you can help each other out a little bit more, and it makes for an easier and more introductory experience for a lot of board gamers and newcomers to tabletop gaming. And that's a real strength of cooperative games. I don't do cooperative games all the time. It's not one of my favorite styles of game, but like sometimes it's great, and it's really great when you're getting new people in, or if you're getting the kids together, you're getting a family game night, or people who just are maybe a little nervous about not necessarily knowing the rules. Cooperative works great for that because you can help them along and be like, look, we're all going to win or lose together, so I think your character should move here and you should do this. Do you want to do that? And it's a great way to get people started and get people interested and get them kind of looking forward to the next game, which is a cool thing. Now, I will say that this character board here looks kind of interesting to me because it looks a little bit like maybe it draws on a little bit of inspiration from certain other games. That we do know that Zombicide is now in the Asmodee family, and this character board does bear some resemblances to Zombicide, which is cool, but it also bears some resemblances to Marvel Crisis Protocol in that it looks like you've got health and power, and then maybe this is an XP tracker for like how many characters you've killed, and maybe once you kind of cross a certain threshold, you level up and you can gain new cards and gain new powers. It looks like there's tokens on the left and right sides, and then also some slots for tokens in the middle, along with a character board in the middle in a similar style to Marvel Crisis Protocol, but while not being exactly the same. It looks like this is going to get people very interested, and if they really like this board game, then maybe they'll take the next steps into Marvel Crisis Protocol, and they'll be able to use some of these miniatures that they already have, which is a very cool thing. I like this. It's also the first in a line of sets. We're getting basically they showcase all of the 4 Spider characters, and then they show like at least 3 other sets. There's an X-Men set, which we're already seeing coming. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. They show Captain America. There's also Hawkeye. They have 2 different backgrounds. Now, all the Spider-Man characters had a blue background, but it looks like there's different color backgrounds. Now, this could have something to do with roles that they play, or might have something to do with the set that they come in. And then they even showcase villains swapping out that you can mix and match. So as you get more of these sets, this is going to be kind of like a board game series. you'll be able to kind of mix and match components. You won't be required to do that, but having the option to do that is also a very cool thing about board games. It means that you can now kind of take a little piece of this one, and you know what? I want to take Wolverine and have him join the Spider-Man and help him fight Green Goblin. Oh, I want to take my Spider-Man and have them fight, an Avengers villain. Maybe it'll be Red Skull or something like that. There's going to be, or mix and match potential henchmen and try to make the experience harder. And that's a really fun thing to do as you get into cooperative games, to try to mix and match a scenario to make it as hard as you can. If you think you're getting really good at it and you think this is too easy, sometimes these cooperative games let you turn up the difficulty, and this is another way to do that. I thought that's pretty interesting. They do say specifically that these are compatible with Marvel Crisis Protocol, but they do say the character minis are compatible with Marvel Crisis Protocol. And I think that distinction is important here because it doesn't say all minis are compatible with Marvel Crisis Protocol. I think it's the henchmen and those nameless foes that you're going to be taking out in droves before you get to the final boss. I think those are the ones that are going to specifically not be compatible with MCP, but I am curious about some of the villains because, again, in Marvel Crisis Protocol, there are some characters that have pretty large bases, and we're playing on a hex-based board. Is it possible that we're going to see some villains that maybe have a base that is shrunk down a little bit for the board game and thus won't necessarily copy over to MCP? Or is it one of those deals where the hexes are big enough that even the large base characters work just fine with it? I'm guessing it's going to be that. But anyway, it's a really cool way to do this. If you are a completionist for Marvel Crisis Protocol, you might feel compelled to pick these up. I don't think that they're going to come with any exclusive character cards, but again, I don't know that. I don't know if they'll make this like a FOMO type of thing where MCP players feel compelled to go and pick this up. I think this is more along the lines of, hey, here's a new board game. It happens to have the bonus of having miniatures that cross over between both games. And I think this is a good way to go. I think this is a strong and smart business decision, and it may be a little risky because some folks might not like the idea of having to build miniatures for a board game, and maybe that won't work. Maybe it will catch on with a lot of people. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's a cool idea, and it's a cool thing to try to see how well that works. Similar concepts have been done before by other companies. GW has done things like this with multiple of their universes and multiple games that have small little war bands that you buy for this game that also can be compatible or partially compatible, or some of it's compatible with 40K or Age of Sigmar and stuff like that. They're doing that here. We've seen this also with Star Wars Legion with Spec Ops, although that doesn't have a retail product associated with it. So this does make me wonder, for you Star Wars fans out there, does this mean that we're going to see things like this in the future for Star Wars Legion? I would love to see a Spec Ops box set that does allow crossover with the regular game, and maybe if it becomes popular enough, all future packs will also have the Spec Ops cards in them or things like that, so you can kind of go back and forth between two different games in an official way that doesn't feel like more of a print and play alpha test, because I am a little bit more attracted to something when it's polished up a little bit more, and I think this is a cool way to do that. They did talk about the next set for Marvel Crisis Protocol alliances, and this is going to be Attack of the Sentinels. Again, these are standalone games. You don't necessarily have one to play the other, but if you get multiples of them, you can mix and match pieces from them. So this is going to be a fun way to do this. So it kind of reminds me of the game series that I look at from time to time called Unmatched, which allows you to play a standalone game, but also allows you the ability to mix and match different characters from multiple sets. And so the more you have, the more options you have. It seems like that's one of the directions they're going here with Marvel Crisis Protocol alliances, and Attack of the Sentinels looks pretty cool. It does look like we're going to get some different types of Sentinels in here, and I'm assuming at least Cyclops and 4 of the basic core X-Men will get in here. And if this does well, it could go a lot of different directions. There's a lot of different ways they could go with this, and it could just become a great way to get more board gamers into the Atomic Mass Games sort of family, and eventually get some people saying, I've got a lot of miniatures now. I could try playing Marvel Crisis Protocol. Now, again, you don't have to paint your minis, but you can. The ones they've used here and they're demoing with are all painted, so my only fear is that it's going to lead board gamers to think that you're getting fully pre-painted pieces inside here. So let's be very clear. You're getting miniatures on a sprue in this game. So let's, and hopefully that is clear in the marketing. I'd hate to see disappointed people that thought they were getting, pieces that looked like this in the board game. You're going to have to assemble them, but they'll go together pretty easy. You're just going to need sprue cutters. And that's where I think this is kind of a gamble, because it's not all the way there. Like Imperial Assault had some that were like, was kind of this hybrid where like, oh, some of these characters are have pieces I need to do a sub-assembly for, and things like that. Like even Legion had stuff that was bagged, and you had to kind of piece them together, but you had to glue them there. So I think it's tricky to try to find the sweet spot of what's going to just cast a wide enough net to attract board gamers and pull them in to the miniatures wargaming, hobby miniatures gaming, and getting into all of that stuff, while without seeming too intimidating. And I think they chose an interesting path for this one, so we'll have to see how it does. This is going to be talked about a little bit more at Gamma, which is next week, and will be demoable at Adepticon. So if you are going to be at Adepticon, and I'm going to be there, you'll be able to get your first look at Marvel Crisis Protocol alliances for the Night of the Green Goblin. This set will be demoed there. I don't know how they're going to do demos, because like they've already kind of sold out on tickets for things. They might just add a new events that you can sign up for, or maybe they'll just be running open demos. But it would be a really cool way to do it. I'd love to check this out, and stay tuned to the channel. We'll try to get in there and get a look at Marvel Crisis Protocol alliances and see how well it plays. Hopefully the gameplay is very captivating and helps draw people in, because I'd love to have new people getting into miniature wargaming. It's good for everybody. It gives you more people to play against. That's all for this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. We'll talk more tomorrow with the rest of my reactions to the other news out of Atomic Mass Games this week. It's been a busy week for tabletop gaming and news, and there's more stuff coming too. Like Z-Man has an announcement that's coming tomorrow. There's a lot of stuff out of Asmodee, a lot of shakeups, a lot of things that are happening, a lot of new stuff that's being announced. The Gamma's right around the corner. We're going to get a lot of news here in March. March is going to be a busy month. And then with Adepticon culminating at the end, it's going to be pretty wild and crazy. So stick with me. Click that subscribe button. Stick around. Check the links in the description below. You can jump into Patreon if you're interested in supporting the channel. There's links to Discord. There's discounts where you can save if you want to head over to Battle Foam and protect your minis and store your minis and transport your minis a little bit more. You can use code Crabbok VIP over there to save 15%. And that's going to do it. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing and help make this whole channel possible. I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. And always wash your socks.